and it's 7:00. So you know what time it is. It's chasing gazillions. Ain't the same as making millions. Well, I always got to wait for the nod for you to give the little thing, Fernando.
It's getting closer at Michigan State, though, in East Lansing. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry.
Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony. You know what it is, people? The dude is so excited because he got his buddy on tonight. He got his friend from Maryland. He can't even contain himself. He can't even get into character. The dude, you know how it is. You know how it is when you have your best buddy over and you're all excited and shit. You want to tell everybody. Now you can't even get into the show, man. Okay.
Terps helping Terps. That's what I'm about. You know that.
All right. So here we are.
That's the one border. Our relationship has one border. You're a UVA guy. I'm a Maryland guy. That wall, it's a big wall. Maybe they should put that in South Texas to block, the immigrants from coming in. I don't know.
Yeah, but when I had we had season 1, we did 40 episodes. And in season 1, I had classmates on. When Ben Soto was on, my law school classmate, I didn't get all giddy.
What's wrong with getting giddy? What the hell's wrong with that?
God, you lose focus here. Hey, man, how was your week, man? How was you traveling? I understand Maryland laws. I understand that you took that's a blow. I really don't have no sympathy for the people who took the money in that league. What can I say?
Okay. All right, then. Settle down, number one, about the money. Always with the money. I paid my own way, my own ticket, my own hotel, my own food. All right. I do get free.
I thought you were traveling with the boosters. You was like last week. You was like, "Oh, we boostering, booster."
Yeah, we're boostering, but we got to pay our own way. We get free tickets though, literally first row behind the bench. So if you watched the game last night, you saw me all night. I was like right behind the team bench.
Oh, really?
It was very cool.
Oh, that's
so I had a good time, man. I just the losses are mounting up a little bit. The losses on the road. I'm now 6-17 all time on my road trips.
Okay.
Not a great record. Looked like Maryland's 3-point shooting last night, 3 for 22.
Wow.
It was pathetic. But had a good time there. The people were really friendly. The students, where they sit the visitor fans, are right in front of the student body. So the students were a little chirpy, but they were respectful and nice.
Oh, okay.
I was happy about that. Yeah. So Tom's on tonight.
Right.
No,
hey, you see what I'm saying, people? I don't get to talk about my week at all. Dude is right to Tom.
All right.
What about it's Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony?
You know you're gonna get yours like you always do, all right? You always get plenty of talk time. I'm not trying to cut it because you're gonna get more than enough.
You know what? Okay, fine. Okay, I can't take it.
Let me know.
Let me just bring Tom in here, man. Let me just everybody, this Tom.
How you doing, everybody?
I'm gonna let Fernando introduce you because the dude is just off the rails here tonight. Go ahead, Fernando. Tell everybody who we got here tonight.
A fraternity guy at Maryland. We hung out, had a few beers back in the day. He also, I don't know if he remembers this, but he went to a formal at a sorority formal with Claudia Gelser. You remember Claudia?
Yeah, Pi Phi. The claw.
Right. I was at the same formal, and the best part of the formal was after the formal. Tom was in the back of the sorority making out with her for like an hour, and all the Pi Phis were watching from upstairs. That's what I remember.
Well, only thing makes that story better, Tom, is did you marry her?
God, no.
No.
No, Claudia. She was a good egg. No, I like Claudia.
Still is. I'm still friends with her.
All right, tell her I say hello.
I see her all the time when she's in town, man. Yeah, I've been to her house in Brockton.
God, that's hysterical. That was 1987.
I'm going to see her on Saturday too.
Well, Tom, just so you know who you're dealing with here. I had a hostess when I played nose guard for the University of Virginia, UVA, down at the Peach Bowl. We played Purdue, and they gave me a Peach Bowl hostess to show me around for that week. And the short of the story is, she is the mother of my 2 children, and we going into our 31st year marriage. So
wow, that's a great story.
So when you say God no, I got a little sensitive because sometimes those babes you make out with in the back for an hour, well, they become the love of your life. That's why I asked.
This is a family show.
Adults only, Tom.
That's right. Adults only with Fernando and Anthony.
Yeah. Adults only.
Well, tell Claudia
I've worked a couple times in the past with Sandy Spring, especially like 08, 09 when you guys had a bunch of land assets you had to get rid of. But we're trying to work together now. We think the commercial market, especially the office space, is starting to crater a little bit, and hopefully something happens here in the future. We work together. So that's kind of Tom. Good Maryland guy, good supporter of the program. I've seen him on a couple golf outings. He's a golfer too, Anthony.
Does he? More than one hole?
More than one hole. He plays all 18 holes.
Never play 9.
Never play. Me either. Never play 9. 9's for losers. Keep playing until it's done. One hole. Think about what I think of guy who plays one hole, Anthony. I think 9's for losers. You play one hole.
Exactly.
Hey, Tom, I know you got a lot to share with us, and we want to talk a lot. So we want to tee this up. The topic that we put out there to everybody tonight was that you were going to be on. We put your background out there so people know they're looking forward to hearing from you. And the topic was show me the money. We were having you on, talk to the audience about, and our audience is varied and it's wide and it's live.
Sure.
These are real estate professionals. These are individual investors. These are moms and pops, homeowners, the like.
Sure.
And clients and our clients. So our clients are out there watching. I figured out the little circle up here, Fernando. I investigated. It turns out people can watch us, but we don't know who they are. We can't see them. They can see us.
Okay.
So people are watching the show.
Hopefully they're all looking.
Huh?
Hopefully they're all looking at you.
Not tonight. No, not tonight. It's your show, Tom. Talk to us about. Tell us what's going on in the commercial market. What our people should know. What's coming down the road. Crystal ball it for us.
Yeah, well, as you, I'll give you a little background. So I started in this industry in 1998, working for Fremont Investment Loan, which is a shop out of California doing high leverage, non-recourse bridge loans. Went to Capital Source with John Delaney in 2004, 2003, 2004. And then in 2007, 2008, I came to Sandy Spring. I've been to Sandy Spring since. So I've seen a lot of cycles. There's the dot-com bubble in the early aughts. And then in 09, 08, 09, and even into 10 was, the Great Recession and all hands on deck. And then we came out of it with flying colors, and we basically had the same interest rate on all 3 treasuries that we use as indices for the last 8 years until about September of 2022, and or earlier than that, June. And we've been kind of scratching our heads ever since. To give you a little data point, the 5-year treasury, well, the 3, 5, and 7-year treasuries and 10-year treasuries have all gone up 40 to 45 basis points in the last 5 days. They basically were unchanged, but a 10 basis point, 15 basis point fluctuation for 5 years. And in 5 days, we got a 45 basis point swing. Of course, that came after the Fed's most recent announcement of interest rate hikes. But again, so when we sit there and, our book of business is pretty big. And I've been at the bank for 15 years. So I got basically $1 billion book. My clients are all high net worth local individuals that own shopping centers, office buildings, industrial properties, hotels, all food groups, self-storage facilities. And there was quite a lot of activity in 22. I'd say it was the busiest year I've had in the industry. even with everything that occurred at the midway point. It did slow down in the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
And right now, we're not seeing a whole lot of volume in transactions. There's some stuff out there that's trading, but in general,
But
it's
Tom, help us understand that. I hear this often. 22
Sure.
was a good year, even though it was a pandemic year. People say it was a good year. You're saying, hey, I was super busy. What, looking back now, Tom, do you contribute to the activity, the nature of the activity? What was driving it?
Lots of cash flow, a lot of capital in the marketplace. People want to deploy it. People want to borrow. There's a lot of cash. I liken it to 08, 09 when people were looking to real estate to invest in because everything else was, in the crapper, proverbial crapper. But the bid and the ask back then was so far apart that nobody transacted. Because people were still thinking that cap rates of 4 and 5 were the norm, and that's just not the case. You're seeing a little bit more of that cap rate increase going on right now in the marketplace, which could lead. It's actually led us to slow down a bit, and it's and the interest rate. So it's a function of value and cash flow. And for our bank, they're both equally important, but we put a little bit more emphasis on cash flow than value because cap rates can go up and down as the market goes up and down. So we look at the cash coverage and cash flow, debt service coverage as our bellwether of the health of the property.
Okay.
And as we look at all our food groups, we look at everything's different. It's interesting. And at the beginning of the pandemic, everybody knew that retail and hospitality were going to feel some pain. And hospitality felt the most pain, but retail felt some pain too. And retail's still feeling some pain, but retail bounced back in 6 months.
Hospitality's bounced back too.
Hospitality is back with a vengeance.
Yes.
I have a couple really big hotel clients that are they really suffered during the downtime, and they really they've been through this before, so they know what they're doing. They know how to be efficient. They know where to cut costs, where to increase. They basically sacrificed rate for occupancy during the pandemic and lowered their average daily rate and increased their occupancies, and they made it work. And kudos to them, and kudos to the retail people that. Kudos to the local governments that allowed people to eat on the streets and figured out that, wow, that's a real boon for business. And as you can see now that there's people eating on the streets every day. They've shut down large portions of the city, large portions of Bethesda, just for people to eat outside. Like, why did you need a pandemic to figure that out?
They took over the sidewalks, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, but it makes sense.
And the streets, and a portion of the street. You only have bike lane and parking for the restaurants, and one lane for the cars now.
Yeah, right. Don't talk about the bike lane thing. I just had a conversation with my wife about that. That's not a good topic. But
you were talking about the relationship between interest rates, DCR, debt coverage ratios, and where you see your people are today. You all as a bank are slowing down. Talk to the people about what they should expect. We had someone on last week, for example, said he was looking for a shopping center. He had about, did he say he had, was it 1.5 to deploy?
1.5.
1.5 to deploy.
Money.
Right, and looking for a shopping center. What will he face at coming to Sandy Springs? What are you going to be asking? What should he expect?
Well, his experience is first and foremost the most important thing. We lend to real estate developers in the commercial real estate group. We don't lend to doctors that want to buy a building. We don't lend to John Q. Public that's got a job as a lawyer, but he wants to own a piece of real estate. And for us, it's the who and not, more than the what, because the who is going to bail us out if things go south. Regardless of the guarantee, if somebody's not involved in real estate and they're retail, let's just say, for example, it's somebody that's not involved in real estate that is, and I'm not to disparage the doctors that want to own real estate and et cetera, and the lawyers, but if he wants to buy a shopping center and he's got, 5 tenants, one's a dry cleaner, one's a liquor store, one's it's a neighborhood center. And his major tenant leaves, how's he going to backfill that? that major tenant being, call it 40% of the debt of the cash flow of your revenue, how's he going to backfill that as a doctor? He's not. He's going to get third-party management, but he's not savvy. So when we lend to retail, we lend to everybody, but we want to make sure that we lend to people that know how to get out of trouble. We're a risk assessment. That's what our primary function is, to assess risk. So if we lend to a guy that has 15 shopping centers and he's got a TJ Maxx in one and a large tenant left over here, and TJ Maxx wants to be in over here, all he's got to do is talk to them and make a deal over here to make a deal over here. So there's the efficiencies there. There's savvy, there's experience, and there's the knowledge of the asset class. Likewise, in industrial, we don't want to lend to people that don't understand industrial. We don't want to lend to people that don't understand hotels. We want the people that we lend to be professionals in their work. We want
it sounds like you have a clear picture of who your ideal avatar customer is. You understand who you can serve best and who they are and how you can be the best, loan lender to them. And that's a great strategy.
Yeah. It's important to us, Anthony, that we know our client, and, touch the real estate, obviously, but touch them and continue to be in contact with them. It's funny. I told you I had $1 billion book of business. I have to maintain that, service that debt. Not the bills, but every day there's a new call. I need X, Y, and Z, and it's a lot of work. But it's for somebody that, I've been at the bank for 15 years. They get comfort knowing that they can call me, as opposed to calling the four corners of a piece of paper for a CMBS loan, and say, I've got an issue. Can you help me? And I go out and I look at the problem. We talk about the issue, and we fix it best we can. And make no doubt about it. We're a for-profit bank. We're not in this just for altruistic purposes. But no, we are a local community bank that wants to help the local community. We only lend to people from here. We only lend on assets that are here.
Okay, now let's amplify on that, Tom. It's your show, your time. Talk to the people. You said local community. Now, what does that mean in terms regulatorily that you are a community? Is that just a slogan? I'm a community bank, or am I something different than somebody who is not, quote, a community lender?
No, it's just jargon. We're the largest publicly traded bank headquartered in the state of Maryland, about $14 billion in assets, and when I started with the bank, we were under $3 billion in assets 15 years ago. So
you've helped grow.
I didn't personally.
You didn't. You did, Tom, on this show, because it's just us.
All right. Yeah, I did the entire bit. The real message of the bank is we are big enough to be big, and we want to deliver small. And that's what we want to do. We want to be the community bank. We don't want to be a large. So
you're not regional. So what is local? That's the other component you said.
So it's a great question. Local is DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Those three markets.
DMV.
That's it.
Not Pennsylvania, not Delaware.
I'd say before 2 years ago, let me couch that. I'll come back to it. Before 2 or 3 years ago, it was just DC and concentric counties, up north to Frederick, south to Fredericksburg, west to Loudoun, and east to the bridge. So we've opened up the coffers and the footprint to the shore in Maryland. We've gone into Delaware a little bit, southern tier PA, just dabbling, not really all, full speed ahead.
Seems like you're following Hillco, because that's where they go. Fernando's always up in that Pennsylvania, Delaware market.
I love
he likes the beach, so he wants to go to the beach.
I love the beach too. I love the beach, love Pennsylvania. Hey, Tom, I got a couple questions for you, man.
Fire away.
What are some of the challenges you're having? Do you think you're gonna have some challenges coming up getting people qualified for new upcoming deals because of the rates, being increased?
Well, I guess the answer there is from a qualification standpoint. Pretty much anybody that walks in the door is qualified. We don't turn anybody away. The the real challenge,
that's good to know,
is how it pencils. You know, the having I have the benefit of having been at the bank and watched the ebb and flow of the leaders and being on a weekly basis with credit, understanding where we're trying to be. I can triage a deal in 5 seconds. You know, I can see what the asset class is, who the borrower is, what the asset looks like, what the play is, and say we can do it or we can't. That's the real crux of what I do. I mean, I'd say I get about 1% of less than 1% of all the deals I look at get done. And I have $1 billion book of business. So that should tell you something about the volume that we look at. You know, last year I did a lot. I'm not going to tell you how much I did, but it was a lot of big deals. And they all had their unique challenges. And that was in more of a boom market than we're in now. And so those challenges are just amplified in the current market because, as I mentioned, cash flow is king. NOI is debt service coverage is the answer to the question. Because the interest rates are high, they're not penciling. And if we have a debt service coverage of X and it doesn't meet that, we just lend less money, and people have to come up with the difference themselves. And you know, and if guys got $1.5 million to put into a deal, you know, and it's a $10 million deal, you know, $8.5 million, it's not gonna pencil. You know, so he's got to find the asset that, you know, he's got to look at the NOI and say, here's an interest rate and here's a stressed interest rate, which is important because, you know, the interest rates today of 6 and change, they could go up to 7.5, 8 next year. You don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get through this and things start to normalize, and the 2-year treasury is below the 5-year treasury, which it's higher than right now, which makes no sense whatsoever.
That makes sense. How do you get your clients, Tom? How do you get your clients?
Word of mouth is probably the biggest way. You know, we have been in this market since just after the Civil War. So we have a lot of long-standing clients, old money and new money, young people and old people, second, third generations. I've got companies in my portfolio that have been around for 100 years. I've got companies that have been around for 5. Equally successful, equally sized, and just, you know, it's word of mouth. People say, I got a call from X and here's you guys are great. You know, we pride ourselves on making it as easy as we can for the borrower. And that means in the terms of the closing process. You know, you hear nightmare stories about trying to close deals and how much banks need and how gruff they are. And I can tell you that the way I am with you guys is the way I am in a meeting with my clients. It's very personable. We don't stand on authority, you know, stay on ceremony. We just get right to the crap and get it done and no punches pulled and we move on.
The bank's got a good reputation locally, no doubt, among business people.
It does. It certainly, Tom, when I'm out talking with clients who are looking for money, always when they ask me about a lender, and after today, I'll start recommending you. But what I always say, look and find out, are they putting money on the street? Ask someone else, did they get money? Did they get the loan?
Yeah.
Or did they get a lot of yimmity and did they get the loan? That's who you want to deal with.
That's a great point, Anthony. And that kind of goes back to what I said about triaging the deal. Brokers and borrowers and developers and friends know that if I say no, not to ask me again, because it's not no today. It's I can't do your deal. Like if you're under contract, I'm not going to waste your time.
Yes.
Dicking around on yada, yada, yada. If I know that it's going to be a tough sell internally, and I don't want to waste their time and waste their efforts.
Exactly. And that's what we see. People are like, yeah, let me collect your paper. Let me get all your terms. Let me get all this. I'm going to give you a term sheet. And it's like 2 weeks in, 3 weeks. And then it's like some underwriter guy somewhere saying, I don't know. Give me something else. Dude.
Let me tell you how we get around that. and this is kind of our basic selling point in the commercial real estate world. And I've told this to pretty much every time I sit down with anybody, I tell them the spiel, because this is a selling point that I think is the selling point. So when I get a deal in, and if I say this has legs, let's run with it. I put together basically an approval package with myself and my portfolio manager. We put together an approval package, and we take it into committee on Thursday mornings after we meet for loan committee. We go and we sit down and we say, here's some deals we're kicking around. This is one, this is one, this is one, this is one. And I present to them, I sell them on the deal, and I say, so can we issue the term sheet? If we issue that term sheet, that deal, barring some surprise and environmental or some appraisal issue, is going to get closed. I have had maybe 5 deals in 15 years fall out due to that scenario, the appraisal and recently it's been more construction costs have gone up, and the borrowers just pulled the plug and said, I can't do this right now. It's just not the time.
Mm-hmm.
But so that it's vetted. Yeah, we still have to go through the process of finding out, of penciling it all the way through, getting all the due diligence that we need. But that deal that I've quoted is gold. It's not going to go up. It's not going to go down. It's going to be right in. It's etched in stone. And here's the deal we're going to do. So and I'm not saying that I'm familiar with this, but there are people that throw term sheets out there just to get their foot in the door, and then they start talking. Then they start negotiating.
Right.
I don't do that. We don't do that.
I got a couple questions here, Fernando. Can I jump in?
One more, and then you can.
Go
Anthony.
ahead. Go.
Last one is, hey, Tom, $14 billion bank. I know I had done a couple deals for Revere, and you guys bought them out. Mm-hmm. Is there a push to buy and grow more in the next 5 years for Sandy Spring, or are you guys happy with where you're at?
We are never happy with where we are. And organically or through M&A, we are always in the market. We don't want to be bought. We want to buy. We want to grow. That has been the mantra since I got to the bank. I believe wholeheartedly in the leadership of this bank. They're not only are they savvy from a professional standpoint, but they're some of the best people I've ever met. Which
Dan
is
Schreider.
When you stay somewhere for 15 years, you know that you're in a spot that A, you have a voice, and B, you're amongst good people, and that's, to me, is the key. I can't say that about every place I've worked, but I've never felt morally compromised at this bank, and that's a huge thing. Huge. You always feel like you're welcome, and you're not morally compromised.
All right, Anthony, go ahead.
Well, that's a great segue here, and we want to make sure you have the opportunity to talk to the people, Tom, not just about the deals and the money, and you're a big banker, and but other aspects. So talk to the people about your charity work. We know that you were involved in a number of charitable organizations here and around the area doing affordable housing and other kinds of local charity work you're involved in. Share that with the people. Talk to them about those organizations. It's a great
point, Anthony. This bank is, coming from Gonzaga, coming from DeShano for grade school, always been interested in helping, giving back. I mean, Gonzaga, you're a man for others. That's the mantra of Gonzaga. And giving back to the community it's vital. If you're going to be in the community, you got to give back. And so the bank, I do whatever I can.
You do a lot, Tom. So I heard about the bank, but we want to know about you.
Well, I was on the board of Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless for 10 years, and I was on the board for of their real estate entity that owns the Real Estate Coalition Homes. I termed out of that a couple years back. I'm now on the board of the mansion on O Street. I don't know if you know what that is, but
the museum in that project. Yes,
I do. It's the coolest place on the planet. If you ever have a chance to go to the mansion on O Street,
I have been there.
Where I got married to my wife there.
Nice.
2000, it's 2008. So yeah, so it's the bank really stresses the so there's a place to log your hours in, your charitable contributions on a monthly basis, and we take pride in those hours. In when my kids were both younger, I coached them all through sports and giving back that way. We have toy drives at Christmas. We have food drives at Thanksgiving. There's always something. You can always find something to do. This past year, the Revere guys spearheaded this.
The Revere guys?
Are they still considered Revere guys?
No. But I call it. It's Ken Cook. It's Ken Cook. Ken Cook. And the philosophies of the two banks are so similar that it was the most smooth merger that I've ever been through, and I've been through like 4 now. This one was just like, I know a lot of the guys too, so it was like, I was playing golf with Scott Nicholson in Ocean City, and I didn't even know about the merger yet. And he goes, "Looks like we're going to be partners today." It looks like we're going to be partners. I was like, "Cool. Who are we playing?" He goes, "No, I mean in general, we're going to be a bank together." I was like, "Holy crap! I didn't even know that." But my point about the Revere guys, they started this thing with a giving tree, where I don't know where they found the names, but everybody picked a name off the tree, and you go buy this list of, there's a laundry list of Christmas presents. Like I wanted to put my name up on that tree because it was a pretty nice list, and it was just very seamless, and there's always stuff to do from the giving back standpoint in the bank, and everybody does. It's not, there's not like 20% of the people do 80% of the work. It's 80% of the people giving back.
That's right.
Probably 100. And that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to, and when you're out in the community doing that, people, you don't advertise that you're with the bank, but when they ask, you tell them, and they get the picture. So it's a very, very, very important part of the bank is giving back.
Sure. And we see it in what you're doing. Speaking of the community, local bankers, I was out today, and I'm going to just assume that because I'm with Fernando and it's his show, Fernando and Anthony, his show. I might be writing an offer on a deal tomorrow. That's the part of the show that I didn't get to talk about my week, Fernando. what I've been doing this week. I'm still working.
An only child, Tom. If you haven't noticed already, needing that only singleton. The singleton in him comes out all the time.
I'm still working, and so I was out with a nonprofit. I was wondering, do you work with nonprofits? Because we're looking at a new headquarters building, and the purchase price, I don't know, but let's just say they're asking under $4 million. Under 4. Is that something I should be?
100%.
And if I were to come quote to you, am I actually going to come see you, or am I going to see some other dude who points me and says, "Yeah, that's Tom's office"?
No. You're going to come to me, but I'm going to ferry you to the person in the bank that handles the nonprofit originations. I wouldn't handle that. It's not true investment. It's more owner user. So the owner occupied stuff. Owner-occupied stuff gets handled by what we call the C&I group, this commercial and industrial group. Okay. They're the guys that do loans to restaurants, businesses, smaller real estate loans, and owner-occupied real estate loans. And the owner-occupied stuff is pretty aggressive. The leverage and the pricing is more aggressive than the traditional stuff, and especially in the nonprofit side. But again, it's all a function of the financial condition. It's got to be a viable financial company.
Fernando can speak to him. 8th Street, we sold that building, Fernando. We did get it sold, and now I'm out to buy them another one.
Good. Exactly. So where is the property that you're looking at?
Capitol Hill.
Okay. Yeah, that's
DC.
That's our bailiwick. Yeah, totally down the middle of the fairway for us. So, by the way, I handle $2 to $50 million loans, $2 million to $50 million, all asset classes, and it's got to be investment property, and it's got to be local. But we do a lot more than what I do, and as a face that as I'm talking to you guys now, and as I'm out in the marketplace, I get people asking me all the time, do you do X, Y, and Z? And I say, yes, we do. And I get them to one of my partners, and my partners are a lot better at what they do than I am. So
Tom, I'm typing right now. Seeing how you are the face. Hey, lovely face it is.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
It's blurry. A little blurry.
I ain't your lady.
This is the bank's computer. I was going to change over to my home computer because I brought my bank computer home. And I don't know what I did to the camera, but
don't do it again because you're making it worse with the thing. Don't do that.
I know.
Don't do that.
But okay. Look, I look like I'm lending in low def, and you guys are talking in high.
It does feel that way. But hey.
So hey, Tom.
Hold on. I'm trying to type in his information. How do people reach you, Tom? What's the best way for them to reach you?
Email.
People are going to be calling you.
Email. TEWERS. TEWERS. My name's up on the screen.
Okay. TEWERS.
And it's very short. SandySpringBank.com.
Sandy
doesn't fit on any forms.
Bank.com.
Correct.
Okay. And nothing else. That just the email is the best way for them to reach you?
I would say email is the best way. Well, you can give them my phone number too. That's fine. 240 893 6575.
6575. You see, we need technical support here on chasing gazillions. Not the same as making millions.
Getting better in East Lansing.
Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony. See, that's a little plug. We practicing. One day the show is going to actually have commercials cut in. Show.
You got to have something that they can change the channel to.
All right. One last fun fact for you, Tom.
Okay, look at that. Bam. It's up.
There you go.
Olney Ale House.
Yes.
So I know you guys had put up, you had offered up some money to the owner, John Roach, right?
Right. I'm not that familiar with the transaction. So.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a guy who was interested in buying it from John because he is looking to walk away. He's not going to rebuild it. He's just had enough. It's too much of a project for him at his age. He's like, I just can't. Yeah. I had a guy who wanted it. We just couldn't put the deal together. And I saw your sign out front, so I thought I'd mention that as well. So I'm working on that deal, but my restaurant guy has walked away. It's a hard deal. It's a teardown, basically.
Yeah,
but it's a home run. I mean, it is.
You can't.
He's going to hate me when he buys it, and 3 years from now, he'll be like, "It was the best decision of my life." As you know, it's an iconic spot.
3 years from now, you guys will be playing golf at the beach together and talking about it.
Iconic spot, right? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. Location.
Yeah. There you go.
Wow. That's all I have, Anthony. Anything else?
That's all you got? Well, yeah. I mean, he covered all the bases. The market.
Yeah, that was really good.
Charitable giving. How to reach you to get a loan.
Anybody needs to talk about any. And by the way, it's a great bank to put deposits in. Like we have really aggressive deposit rates right now. Money markets and CDs and the entire world does. But you want to keep your money somewhere that's safe and close, not national. That keep it at Sandy Spring Bank.
Where are you all located here?
I live in Kensington and I work in Rockville.
Rockville,
right next to the Marlowe building on Rockville Pike. We have a little office building that has a branch in the basement and some offices upstairs.
Yeah. I know that. I know that location.
Right in front of Richard High School.
Richard Montgomery, right?
Right. So you said your kids did they also go to Gonzaga?
No, I got two girls. Thanks. Thank the Lord.
There you go.
Karma. Ask Claudia. Karma's a piece of work.
I got two girls, but I finally got a boy though. Thank God.
I'm as long as they're happy and healthy, and not always happy, but they're healthy. I'm happy with that. I got one that just graduated from Maryland in December.
Maryland.
Graduated early.
Wow. Overachiever.
Yeah. I mean, she's leveling out the average for the family, so that's great.
I took a solid 8 years to get out of there. A solid 8 years.
I mean, it might as well have been 8 for me. I felt like I was there for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then my youngest is at Little Holy Cross in 7th grade. So,
Okay.
and my oldest went to Holy Cross High School.
Nice. All right then. Well, I know you're a big giver back to Gonzaga. I have a client and a fraternity brother who is the head coach for your I don't know if it's award winning or championship winning. You just won something on your hockey team.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
You have a championship. Huh?
There was no hockey when I was there.
No hockey when you were
there? No. There was no lacrosse when I was there.
Wow. Really?
They're big sports now.
Yeah, they are. They've come a long way really fast.
It's huge sports at Gonzaga, which is hard to imagine that they didn't exist 30 years ago, but now they're two of the bigger sports.
Right, exactly, because the hockey team is, like I said, it's a championship hockey team.
Oh yeah, they're nice. They put a guy in the NHL.
Right.
Did they really?
I know.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So anyway, hey Tom, thank you again for coming on to the show tonight. We appreciate you spending some time with us.
Yeah, it was great.
Everybody, Tom, we like to leave you with the last word. I never actually give you the last word, but I like to say it. It sounds good.
Well, just remember, Sandy Spring Bank is from here for here. So we're local. We're here. We're not going anywhere. So if you want to get in business with us, give us a call.
Excellent. All right. Fernando, you want to take the last word?
No, let me and you wrap up alone. Let's let Tom go.
All right, we're gonna let Tom go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Thanks,
hey, no, thank you, Tom. It was great seeing you.
Have a good night.
Bye. You too.
All right.
Bye. Go Terps.
Go Terps. All right.
Solid.
That was solid. I love that.
Good
that was
guy.
A great guess.
Yeah.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, that was good. He's a good guy.
Oh, hold on. Is somebody chatting?
We haven't got any chat, have we? No.
I saw the little red button come on for the chat.
Oh, yeah. Once again, great host, great guest. Virginia Bushcrafter.
Is he there?
Yeah.
Why? It's not showing up on my side. It's showing up.
You got to minimize your screen.
Have to do what?
Minimize the screen.
Minimize the screen. How do I do that?
Bottom right-hand corner, that little square, you push it.
Well, that makes it bigger.
Oh, okay. Then you can't see it, just me. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, he was really good. That was solid.
Yeah, I saw the chat, but the Bushcrafter, I love to get him in here, but I don't know what happened that I'm not able to get the Bushcrafter in.
Yeah.
Well, I understand you're out there, Bushcrafter. So you can see him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great.
So I had written down a couple of those questions, and he answered some of them before I even asked them, which was always good.
That's right.
But very informative. I mean, this is the kind of show that we can send out to people who are interested in finding out more about commercial lending and what it takes, and because he gave out some really good points. So next week, everybody, we got Dr. Lene's Bias, Lenny's mom. Talk about her foundation, how she started it, her life.
Nice.
It's a non-real estate topic. We understand that, but I think this show's morphing into something more than real estate. It's a local, show that we will have mostly real estate clients. But my goal is one day to have Coach Loxley on here from the University of Maryland. But I know his time is pretty precious. So, but I an opportunity to talk to Lenny's mom, I can't turn that down. So,
all right, that's great. Also, because we are experienced real estate professionals and we keep gaining experience, some of the things we also an upcoming topic that we want to talk to you about as real estate professionals out there is the absolute importance of getting your representation agreements signed in advance before you do work for any of your clients that you're out working with. I had I've been in the game. It happens to even the most experienced among us that I had the occasion to go out with a prospective client this week, or the past 2 weeks rather, and was out with him. He showing him properties, and in the end, the relationship didn't work out, which happens often. Well, I don't know how often it happens, but it does happen that as real estate professionals, we get assignments, we get listings that expire, or we get assignments and the chemistry doesn't work out. And that's why we have termination clauses in our written agreements. But we want to do a show coming up as soon as we can, because we are booked. But we are going to do a show on when you are referred to individuals and you feel like there's a connection, and more importantly, when they say you're my guy and you begin to do work, you change your position in the world. We're not talking about just doing market surveys and sending over reports. We're talking about contacting other professionals, arranging for them to see the spaces, going in, doing analysis of potential purchase or leasing values, and actually drafting letters of intent or contract offers to be presented. That's what we do as real estate professionals. That's the lifeline of how we earn a living. That's our business. And when individuals then, after you've worked for them for 2 weeks, showing them around, introduce them, and then they say, well, you know what? I'm not feeling you. You know what? I don't think you're the right person to be on the team. Whatever the case may be, there is a doctrine of procuring cause that exists here in our region, that you can avail yourself of when even if you don't have a signed agency agreement with someone, but you've done work and you can clearly establish through email communications and other things to show, hey, I brought that guy. He only got into your space because I arranged for it. He only knows about your space because I found it for him. And then they say, well, no, I don't want to work with you anymore. And more importantly, I'm going to go work with somebody else and let someone else carry me across the finish line. Somebody else is going to score the touchdown after you've done work and teed it up. And, that's not right. That's not fair. That's not how business is conducted here in this market.
There's a word for that comes back. It's called karma. When you do shit like that, it'll come back to bite you in the butt later.
That's
By
right.
the way, John Wright's in the house.
John Wright. Dude, are you seeing everybody? Bring him on.
Keep up the work, you all. John Wright in the house. Thank you, John.
Something must be going on my end that you are seeing all of the chats. I'm not getting any of the chats here.
And you're having a bad case of FOMO about it too. Your fear of missing out. You are crazed right now.
I am.
Why can't you see him? I see him perfectly.
Do you? It says the chat is waiting for new messages.
Oh, we're blowing up over here on the right.
Oh my goodness. You're right. You got me going crazy here. But what can I say? All right.
All right. So how we're going to do that show? We're going to have a contract attorney. What do you want to do about that?
Well, what I want to do is make sure that in this case we can serve as an advocate for others who I'm not the only dude. I've been in the game 36 years, and it happens to me. But the message that we want other real estate professionals and bad citizens out there to know is that you can't come to this town and take professionals, have them run around with you for 2 weeks showing spaces, and then now again, you don't have to work with me. That's why we have termination clauses. That's why I tell all my clients right away, when we do a listing, you sign it. It says right there in the next paragraph, just a little note, 2 days, I don't want to work with you anymore, Anthony, because I don't like the way, whatever. It doesn't even matter. You don't have to offer no reason. Just say, I don't want to work with you anymore. Because I only want to work with clients who want to work with me, who see the value that I bring.
Completely agreed with that. Yeah,
right. So if you don't want to work with me, that's not the issue here. What we're talking about now is when you decided you no longer want to work with me, that's fine. But as to the work I've done for the properties I've shown you, you can't now go to someone else and say, you know what? Bowling wasn't the right resource for me. I got introduced to him. He showed me a couple of things, but now he's really not the right person to be on our team going forward. Okay, great. But as for those other properties, those 2 properties that we did see, those 2 properties that we did draft letters of intent for, those 2 properties there, no, I'm entitled. And there will be those who will say, well, you didn't get an agency agreement signed.
No, you didn't close. You didn't close.
This is what they will say. They will say, hey, your fault, lesson learned. You should have known better. You should, a lot of shouldas. But hey, here's the beauty of it. You see what that thing down there, JD, in front of the CCIM, right? I am an attorney.
You'll sue a brother. You will sue a brother.
I'm not your attorney. I'm your real estate professional. But there is in law a precedent for verbal contracts are binding for services here in this jurisdiction. People just think that dealing with real estate and all, yeah, the buying and selling of real estate has to be in writing, no doubt. But we're not talking about the buying and selling of real estate. We're talking about real estate professional services rendered. And they are binding with oral contracts where the person has done the work. It's no different than when you tell a painter, hey man, go paint my house. And then he goes, buys the paint, and he's out here painting. And now you say, wow, okay, you're fired. I don't want to work with you anymore. Okay, that's fine. But you have to compensate him for the contract. Well, I never signed a contract with him. I just told him to go paint the house. Sorry.
That's what mechanic liens are for.
Exactly. And on these 2 properties where I was involved in, that's what they're gonna be facing. If he goes back there, he can go to any other building he wants. He can go work with anyone else that he wants. That's his right. Don't want to work with me? Guess what? I don't want to work with you. I don't want to work with people who don't want to work with me. And so that's fine. But you're not going to mule me. You're not going to.
You're going on a rant, so I gotta put my foot down. Number 1. Okay, this is how it starts. Then we're at a minute 15. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Okay. What?
And that's why I love you, man. And that's why I need you always. Pennsylvania
Avenue.
All right.
Pennsylvania Avenue. You got it done.
Yeah, got it done.
At what number?
28.
Wow, his number.
His number.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
So somebody saw for what it was. It's not a bad building. There's nothing wrong with it, but you had to find the particular person who wanted something like this that was made into one. You know what they did with the building, or how they bought it, I should say.
Right.
Oh, and you found somebody, a lobbyist, hopefully.
No, they might be doing some lobbying.
It's going to be a corporate.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not out there publicly yet. I mean, the transaction is public. You can look up the transaction, but new owner operator isn't out there yet, but they're working on it. They're coming pretty
Very
soon.
cool, man. I'm glad that got done for H Street too, because I know I don't know why they wanted it out of there, because it was a perfect fit for them. Maybe they were too small for that space, I guess. Is that what?
I don't think that's it, but you know, these organizations, they have board of directors, they have their mission, they have their vision.
Yeah.
They want to be certain places, do certain things. Yeah, it's what I always say. I don't make any decisions for my clients. I'm
Did the
just here
CEO
to serve.
retire? I know he was
This is his year. Yeah, Ken. He is.
He's out?
Dude,
Retiring.
he's like a foot and a half into Florida.
So he wanted to get this done before he left. So that was part of his. I know he told me that at the golf outing, that he wanted to make sure this got done before he left. So that's great, man. Really
Yeah,
good.
it's a wonderful organization, as you know, with the
Yeah.
Global Scholars Foundation and Dr. Brown and all of what they do. It's just
Yeah.
it,
Good
it,
dude. Good
it
people.
yes,
Yeah.
good people. Good people. We love
All right,
them.
man.
All
Well,
right. All right. Talk to you later.
it's a good show, man. Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.